we are back. Sorry about that abrupt ending to part 2, but I had not paid attention to the recording limit and it ended pretty abrupt. So, without further ado, let's begin part 3 of 6. We are halfway with our not a half hour, why do I keep saying half hour? Our hour-long special, not special, marathon. So let's begin. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door in the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. Sorry. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to face school property by sleeping on top of you was too much to bear. And she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from a slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressing rage and gesture. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning her face sign furiously at Misha. My god. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She used a very loaded stare at me, too, as if somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. She's not getting any funny ideas about the reason my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door and takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. ...
Miss Tezuka, what do you think you were doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity.
It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. God, she's so like sarcastic with things. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about the certain events. Anyway, she ignores Shizune's Misha's scolding, so there's no chance but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and then makes some quick signs.
Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival?
Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. What do you mean you keep wondering about it? Okay.
And?
We'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown.
Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it.
Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after that translation. She shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and then walks off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true though, I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. What, will you die? The end of the world as we know. Okay, I see. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Kinda sound like Kenji, much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to an unforeseen future. She sounds a lot like Kenji. I wonder if they would be a good couple. I'm about to ask what project she has and what is the apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at the huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table, and she's sitting sleeping on it. Lets out a dull clang. Cling. Being the gentleman I am, Cersei with that girl. Gentleman. I naturally pick it up. Heavy, Doc. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. Of course. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we two leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because a thin handle cuts into my palm. I know how that feels. I've had to grab a couple things before. It's very thin. It's like, yeah, it's like you grab onto it and like it just causes like it hurts so bad. And when you switch hands, like you see the one hand that's like really red. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I even have on trouble matching. Or maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. Seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, but trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Oh, sweet God. Mr. Nakai. What a happy coincidence. Suka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, but that turns to me because obviously it's me who he has some business with. There is something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't begin to guess what he forgot. The The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I want for you is to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. You come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering. Apparently this takes time longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've been doing that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. This is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor the pool, so I'd like to know if you've been taking exercise, as I said. Of course I haven't, but this is way kind of inquiring his way of inquiring gives a feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people. That's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. You see these guns right here, the gun show? Pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down my arms painfully. Stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give this a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you about exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still in your first week and all. Please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this yard is that these habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? I want to be a lazy ass, but I also want to be... I want to live! Yeah, I promise, definitely. He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. Disappeared. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer. I walk till Rin, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I didn't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? Look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically. Her head tilted like it's a bird's. Sigh. I don't know why this is so hard for me. I feel like there's some kind of inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I should discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. The hospital's easy, but I still didn't have started my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built upon a slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come and go. It's probably the best and convenient design in school. The entire wall made of some kind of bricks, as the building itself is covered with some kind of painting. Most of it still has sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. Can't quite say what the painting as a whole more portray. Stacks of what might seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. And then it was suddenly morning. You meditate? I have to work on it, but the guys from our class are helping with the negative spaces and base preferences whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to pick paint areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever there actually is, to demonstrate